According to General Hospital teasers, viewers want to know if Michael Corinthos belongs with Sasha Gilmore Corbin or Willow Tate. What happens after Willow's inevitable Drew Kane split? When her eyes fully open, Willow threw up her entire life due of her affections for Drew, and now she's paying the consequences. Willow has been devastated by the loss of custody, and she is determined to reunite with her children. Willow will eventually realize it was a mistake to place so much faith in Drew. Willow absolutely trusts Drew and believes he is an amazing person, but everything will shatter once his deception is revealed. Willow will grow to regret destroying her marriage and the happy family she had with Michael. Willow is likely to try to repair the damage, thus she may fight to reunite with Michael in the future. Rory Gibson deserves a lot of credit for reinventing Michael and revitalizing the role in a variety of ways. Gibson is a chemistry magnet. Therefore Michael is currently on screen with both Sasha and Willow. Even though we sense Michael's pain and wrath as he speaks with Willow, there is an intriguing energy between them. We might see Willow and Michael eventually reuniting. In fact, some GH fans on social media are cheering for Michael and Willow to reunite once her break from Drew is resolved. This could be an opportunity to reboot Willow and offer her a new beginning with Michael. Of course, other viewers are hopeful that the show continues Michael and Sasha's connection, particularly around baby Daisy Gilmore. Sasha and Michael have the capacity to reconcile, thus their reunion is also worth rooting for. It's simply a matter of who you believe Michael works best with and what kind of tale you want to see from here. Are you hoping for Michael and Sasha to rekindle their romance? Do you believe GH will bring good news for Michael and Willow's future instead? According to General Hospital spoilers, Michael will continue to be in the orbit of both ladies, so keep tuned for updates on whether he will eventually have a new beginning with Sasha or Willow. According to General Hospital teasers, fans are rallying behind Willow Corinthos and Michael Corinthos in the hopes that they can both overcome the chaos brought by Drew Quartermaine. Drew's toxic schemes, lying about Michael refusing to see Willow in Germany, ensuring that Wiley Corinthos overheard him saying Michael doesn't want his children now that he has a new baby, and blackmailing Dr. Portia Robinson, have fueled fan outrage with wild speculation about a poisoning plot sealing his fate. As Willow and Michael grow apart, managing the custody agreement for Amelia and Wiley Corinthos is bound to be difficult. This week's previews portray a bleak image in terms of any form of alliance, but might a flashback to their prior love inspire optimism, or will Drew's manipulations ruin their chances? Drew's chaos drives a wedge Willow's heartbreak over losing custody of her children last month, compounded by Drew's lies that she is unaware of, has her clinging to their engagement, while Michael's bond with Sasha Gilmore Corbin and Daisy Corinthos Gilmore strengthens his resolve to protect his children. General Hospital spoilers. Will BLQ's bold move against Rocco turn Dante against her forever? The teasers for July 14th to 18th depict an icy conversation between Willow and Michael. While some of their followers believe this pair of ex-partners may mend, others are outraged and demanding for the truth about Drew to be revealed, even if it cripples Willow and sends her to the brink. If Drew's machinations, such as his relationship with Nina Reeves, come to light, will Willow reconsider her allegiance, or will it increase their divide? GH spoilers suggest a poisoning to end Drew's reign. Drew's antics, blackmailing Portia and pressing Willow's buttons, have sparked speculation that he will die tragically, with fans suspecting a poison drink or sabotage at a public event. Jen Sidwell clashes with Sonny Corinthos, attempting to remove Drew's influence if he no longer requires it. General Hospital spoilers. Will Willow and Michael band together as Drew faces a deadly threat? However, Nina or Portia are more likely to be the culprits, considering their ketamine setup. Will Drew suffer a fatal dose, or will he escape unscathed? A new chapter in Port Charles? Willow and Michael's potential progress could position them for success, but Drew's potential poisoning could disturb the ground beneath them, jeopardizing Nina's fragile link with Willow and Portia's fight for her profession. Police Commissioner Anna Devane's investigations may reveal the truth, affecting Nina and Willow's mother-daughter relationship, as well as Portia and Trina Robinson's. Will Drew's death bring a stop to his mayhem, or will Willow and Michael's strength reshape Port Charles without a tragic twist? The General Hospital spoilers for Monday, July 14th suggest that Anna Devane will capture a thief after conducting a background check on Vaughn. Michael Corinthos will also deliver some disturbing news, so here's what viewers may expect. In Carly Spencer's kitchen, She will meet with Michael and Sonny Corinthos to discuss some worrisome developments. Michael will discuss the weird happenings regarding Daisy Gilmore, and how concerned Sasha Gilmore Corbin has gotten. Sasha feels she is a gaslighting victim, or that someone is attempting to demonstrate how close they can get to Daisy. Because of the serious safety concerns, Michael has decided to allow Jason Morgan take Daisy and Sasha somewhere else than Port Charles. When Carly learns about all of this, she realizes that Sonny believes he is the reason Daisy is being targeted. Michael hasn't ruled it out either, so Carly will be very upset. Carly will appreciate Michael's desire to protect Sasha and Daisy, but her heart will shatter when Michael is separated from his little girl. GH fans know Willow Tate is the real perpetrator in the Daisy drama, but she will continue to believe her actions are justified. Willow believes Michael pushed her too far. That is why Willow will go on a rant during her talk with Isaiah Gannon. When Willow discusses all Michael drove her to do, Isaiah may wonder what she is talking about. It could push Willow to cover up her mistake and attempt to throw Isaiah off the trail. Lulu Spencer will warn Jason that the topic of Britt Westbourne is off-limits in any future interactions with Rocco Falconeri. With Rocco's decision to contact Liesl Obrecht via email, Lulu and Dante Falconeri will undoubtedly face new challenges. Meanwhile, Alexis Davis will defend Sonny during a conversation with Marco Rios, attempting to persuade him that Sonny is innocent of Natalia Ramirez's death. When Natalia's memorial begins, there will be an eruption of tension. Regardless of Alexis' point of view, Marco may be steadfast in his desire to support Jen Sidwell and exact revenge on his mother. Lucy Coe will attend the service with Sidwell, who will point out that there are many unknowns here. Sidwell will continue to raise doubts regarding Sonny's involvement in Natalia's tragic overdose. Vaughn and Jocelyn Jacks will meet with Jack Brennan in his office for a strategy discussion. That will bring Brennan's lecture on the amount of dedication he expects from Jocelyn and Vaughn in their current WSB assignment. At home, Anna will call Vaughn and request a background check. After Felicia Scorpio arrives at the door, Anna will catch a shoe thief in the act. Out back, the dog will come racing out with one of Anna's high heels, so Anna will summon Emma Scorpio Drake to deal with the situation. Felicia will be Anna's confidant, and she may learn of her suspicions about Vaughn. Anna may assume there's more to Vaughn than meets the eye. Finally, Emma will confess something on Monday's GH episode, so she might tell Giovanni Gio Palmieri about the next phase in her plan. Emma, having taken the master key from Vaughn, will be anxious to obtain access to Professor Henry Hank Dalton's top-secret study. According to General Hospital spoilers, Emma may encounter some difficulties along the way, so don't miss out on all the twists and turns. Michael Corinthos has always been motivated by family devotion, emotional struggle, and the continual tug of duty and desire. As Drew's tactics are revealed and the Corinthos family fractures once more, fans are left wondering who Michael is truly destined to be with, Sasha Gilmore or Willow Tate. With Drew and Michael's relationship deteriorating and long-held secrets threatening to spill, Michael is experiencing emotional consequences, forcing him back into the arms of the two women who created the most defining aspects of his adult life. Sasha Gilmore was the wild card who altered Michael's course. She entered his life under the most difficult of circumstances, pretending to be Nina's daughter, and falling for Michael at a moment when he needed to trust in something pure. What they had was impetuous, emotionally turbulent, and possibly doomed from the beginning. However, it was also passionate and honest, which Michael rarely allows himself to be. Sasha noticed Michael when he was vulnerable. She loved him when he was broken after losing Jonah, before the truth about Wiley was revealed. And even when their romance ended, Sasha remained a part of his life, bound to him not by obligation but by shared pain. Willow, on the other hand, provided Michael with a unique form of love. Their friendship stemmed from mutual sacrifice. They married to protect Wiley, established a life out of necessity, and something genuine and profound emerged. They grew to trust one another in quiet moments. Willow gave Michael a sense of peace that few people could. Their love wasn't explosive. It was nurturing. They formed a family, which Michael worked hard to protect, even if it meant making ethically ambiguous decisions behind Willow's back. However, the silent fissures in Michael and Willow's foundation are becoming obvious again. As Willow recovers physically from her sickness, she is becoming more aware of how many decisions were made without her knowledge. She stood by Michael through the custody struggle, the revelations regarding Nina, and even his foolish efforts to take down Sonny. But now, as Drew spirals and Michael's latest acts threaten to reopen scars she tried to shut, Willow is beginning to wonder what kind of guy Michael is becoming. And then there is Sasha. She is no longer the devastated lady struggling to survive after Liam's death, or her public breakdowns. Sasha has clawed her way back from rock bottom. She is reclaiming her voice, job, and sense of self. However, she has yet to confront her residual feelings for Michael. They're older, wiser, and have lost a lot. They have a sense of unfinished business. Every time they cross paths, there's a subtle energy, a tension that neither fully acknowledges but can definitely feel. When Drew's actual objective is revealed and Michael's trust in him is broken, he finds himself isolated. He believed he had control over his family, the firm, and his own heart. But now he's standing in the ashes of another Corinthos disaster, wondering if his moral compass still points north. Sasha serves as a stabilizing presence for him during this emotional fog. She does not demand explanations. She does not ask for promises. She simply listens, and that alone brings Michael a sense of relief he hasn't felt in a long time. Meanwhile, Willow recognizes the shift. She notices Michael softening around Sasha, his gaze lingering just a second too long. It's not jealousy. It's more of a deep dread that what they've constructed won't be enough to survive the storm. She adores Michael, but she doesn't want to lose herself in a marriage defined by secrets. Willow has always prized truth, but lately truth has been in short supply. Sasha's potential participation in exposing Drew complicates matters even more. If Sasha, in her new position of independence, discovers evidence of Drew's betrayals and shares it with Michael, it might be the catalyst for unraveling the final strands of Michael and Willow's relationship. Not out of malice, but because Sasha represents a side of Michael that he is attempting to suppress, the side that values freedom over perfection, passion over strategy. Michael's heart is split between two completely different paths. With Willow, he has a family, security, and the possibility of serenity. However, this peace appears to be founded on a delusion. Sasha has an erratic fire and a history that includes both trauma and perseverance. Michael is terrified at the prospect of rekindling that romance, not because he doubts Sasha, but because he wonders if he is worthy of such love again. And Sasha isn't just standing around waiting to be chosen. She's becoming stronger by the day. And while her heart still beats when she's around Michael, she's not the same girl who let her feelings for him overshadow her sense of self-worth. If Michael wants another opportunity with her, he must approach her honestly, not in desperation. That's a tall order for a man who has been swimming in lies, some of which were intended to protect those he cares about. Willow is quietly remaking herself. She's reclaiming her own power, not just as a mother or a nurse, but as a woman who refuses to accept half-truths. If she notices that Michael's heart is no longer entirely hers, she will not battle for something that is already slipping away. She has her own limitations, and Michael may be closer to exceeding them than he realizes. Drew's separation is more than just a rift between two men. It's a mirror held up to Michael, forcing him to face who he is when he isn't trying to live up to the Corinthos name or clean up Drew's mess. And in that reflection, he sees a man who is becoming increasingly isolated, because even those who care about him no longer truly understand him. Sasha might, but this carries its own risks. Willow might forgive, but not indefinitely. There are no easy solutions. General Hospital thrives on the complexities of human emotion, and this triangle has a rich history dating back decades. Fans are divided. Some want Michael and Sasha's romance to rekindle, while others believe Michael and Willow can rebuild on a more honest foundation. But it's evident that Michael's next action will shape not only his love life, but also his entire personality in the future. Sasha's presence in his orbit will only become stronger as they share more scenes, unsolved talks, and times in which the past begins to seep into the present. And as Michael distances himself from Drew's influence, the issue arises: will he also distance himself from the life he's made with Willow? Willow is not a victim in this. She's intelligent, insightful, and emotionally brave. If she discovers that Michael's problem is rooted in something more than a quarrel with Drew, she will not simply wait for the aftermath. She will make her own judgments. Whether it's placing some distance between them, demanding complete transparency, or even walking away, she'll do it her way. Meanwhile, Sasha is cautious but present. She isn't pushing anything, but the unsaid attachment between her and Michael is slowly rekindling, like a match struck in the dark. If Michael decides to investigate that, it will be because he is finally ready to quit pretending, ready to prioritize desire over obligation. As spectators watch this emotional triangle evolve, the underlying subject is one of identity. Who is Michael now that he is no longer Sonny's heir, Drew's right-hand man, and no longer hiding behind a flawless marriage? Will he decide to follow his heart, even if it takes him somewhere unexpected? Or will he cling to what he believes he should want, terrified of losing the security of familiarity? The answer will not come readily. But one thing is certain. Whether it's Willow, Sasha, or an unwritten future, Michael's trip is about to challenge everything we thought we knew about him. And regardless of who he ends up with, it will be because he finally selected what is genuine. Willow Tate and Michael Corinthos have gone through a maze of grief, betrayal, and heartache, both alone and together. As General Hospital's plot delves deeper into darker, more hazardous territory, with Drew Kane's life on the line, Willow and Michael are forced to reconsider their values, loyalties, and their family's future. What was once a hopeful union has been wrecked by secrets and silence, but this approaching threat may be the unforeseen trigger that brings them back together. Michael has been attempting to keep control while juggling ELQ, his family, and the developing unrest in his marriage. Though he was originally willing to take down Sonny in the name of justice, he eventually backed down, shocked by the knowledge of what revenge was doing to him. But that decision wasn't without costs. His connection with Drew has deteriorated, stressed by economic issues, and more recently, revelations that Drew may not be as devoted or innocent as he says. Michael is caught between wrath and concern as Drew faces a lethal threat, which could be the result of his dangerous business operations or ties to unresolved vendettas. Willow finds Drew's position unsettling, but Michael's emotional coldness bothers her much more. She sees him unraveling piece by piece, becoming colder and more focused on results rather than emotions. Michael was cold when he first told her about Drew's issues. He described it as a transaction, one more element to manage amid a sea of turmoil. That was a wake-up call. Willow is not cold. She has gone through hell, cancer, mysteries about her parentage, loss after loss, and she understands better than others that time is not guaranteed. That realization has made her desperate to restore warmth and meaning to her life, particularly for the sake of Wiley and Amelia. She begins to make quiet gestures, such as placing comfort foods in the fridge, burning candles at night, and sitting with Michael even when the stillness lasts too long. She doesn't force the conversation. She simply exists in his presence, hoping he will realize he is not alone, and that he does not have to bear this load with clenched fists. But Michael is slow to open up. Drew's fear grows, especially if evidence points to something sinister. A planted device, a rigged car, or even betrayal by someone close. Michael begins to visit Drew more frequently, asking harsher questions. He wants to protect his family, but he also wants to know what Drew was doing that put them in risk. Willow, however, advises caution. She warns Michael that diving headfirst into this disaster may lead him deeper into the same dark waters that changed Drew in the first place. She notices a shift in her husband's eyes. He's straddling the edge between justice and vengeance again, and she's afraid he'll lose himself in it. Willow finds herself reflecting on the version of Michael she fell in love with, the man who was compassionate, protective, and hopeful even in the worst of circumstances. She misses the man. She wants him back, not only for herself but also for the children. Wiley raises more questions now, sensing the strain. Amelia becomes more agitated when Michael holds her because she perceives his stiffness. The family is on edge, and while the threat is with Drew, its shadow is creeping into every part of the Corinthos Tate home. Then something changes. Drew nearly escapes a suicide attempt, but the ordeal leaves him damaged and disoriented. The onslaught is enough to make Michael hesitate. He pays Drew a visit in the hospital and seeing his friend pale and broken, his fury subsides for the first time. Michael recalls Drew being willing to go to any length to aid him and Willow throughout the Wiley custody struggle. He remembers the man who risked prison to protect his family. Michael's defenses are starting to crumble as a result of this lucidity. When Michael returns home, Willow is waiting for him on the back porch. She does not speak at first. She just brings him a cup of coffee and looks out at the yard. The silence stretches, but this time it feels peaceful rather than crushing. Finally, Willow informs him that they can be terrified. They are entitled to feel. They don't have to pretend to be stone barriers in front of everyone else. That moment breaks something in Michael. He acknowledges that he's been frightened of losing control, disappointing others, and failing to safeguard those he cares about. But ultimately, he's afraid of losing Willow. She tells him she's still present. Maybe not the same as before, but still there, wishing, waiting, and hoping for him to return to her completely. And perhaps, just maybe, the journey back begins with something as simple as a shared coffee, a kind touch, and a willingness to listen again. They don't solve everything in that instant, but something in the atmosphere changes. Michael starts to breathe a little deeper. Willow's hand meets his. It's not perfect, but it's a start. Meanwhile, the mystery surrounding Drew intensifies. Dante and Anna are tasked with investigating Drew's assassination attempt. Anna feels that this is more than simply corporate sabotage. It's connected to something worse. She suggests a possible revenge scheme involving someone from Drew's background, perhaps in Afghanistan or Pentonville. Michael wants answers, but for once he takes a step back and allows the specialists do their thing. That is Willow's influence, her reminder that not every conflict must be settled with fists and wrath. Instead, Michael focuses on his children. He begins reading to Wiley at night again. He takes Amelia on long walks through the park. Willow watches him slowly but steadily return to the man she knew. They resume spending peaceful evenings together, discussing in low voices about what they want their lives to be like. Not the life they believed they were constructing before. New lives founded on honesty, forgiveness, and adaptability. Willow also opens up. She admits that she has never ceased loving him, but she has begun to mourn the version of him she believes she has lost. Michael takes that like a punch in the chest since he knows she's correct. He was so focused on controlling the chaos around him that he neglected to rely on the one person who always saw the best in him. He resolves to work harder, not for her, nor for the ideal of a perfect marriage, but because he wants that optimism back for himself. As Drew gradually heals, Michael returns, this time without charges. He expresses gratitude to Drew for his survival, but he also raises difficult issues. What caused the attack? Drew, what do you know that could endanger all of them? Drew, weakened but aware, reveals that he may have stumbled into a far larger plot including lost finances, renegade operatives, and perhaps someone in the Quartermain circle who wants him permanently silenced. Michael listens, absorbs, and then does something unexpected. He goes home and tells Willow everything. No more secrets or half-truths. He puts it all out, trusting her to bear the burden with him. And she does. She does not flinch. She does not withdraw. She assures him that this is what couples do. They keep each other safe by being honest, even when the truth is terrible. In the days that follow, Michael and Willow get more closer. They start organizing minor things like family picnics, school schedules, and ways to create new memories for Wiley and Amelia that are not based on dread or catastrophe. They chuckle again. They dance in the living room to soft music after the children have fallen asleep. It is not ideal. The anguish of their recent past permeates the boundaries of their interactions, but it no longer defines them. The lethal threat to Drew persists, lurking just out of grasp, but Michael and Willow have found something stronger to cling to one another. What began as a period of peril and distrust has evolved into an opportunity for redemption. They didn't need a big gesture to get back together. They only needed vulnerability, patience, and courage to confront life side by side. While the future remains uncertain, whether Drew's enemies will strike again, or whether the complete truth will ever be revealed, Michael and Willow are no longer preparing for impact alone. They are reconstructing brick by brick, under pandemonium. After all, love is discovered not in the absence of storms, but in the fortitude to weather them together. Anna's brows tightened as she heard the tiny rustle of paper. Something was wrong. The office at the WSB headquarters in Port Charles was meant to be secure. But Anna Devane had long ago learnt to trust her senses over protocols. Her shoes hardly made a sound as she moved past her workstation, her gaze fixed on the open file drawer across the room. She was not expecting anyone. Her team had left hours ago. The quiet clink of metal affirmed her assumptions. Someone was within her guarded area. Anna moved with experienced accuracy, drawing her weapon and approaching the chamber from the side to avoid creating shadows. Inside, a man sifted through secret documents, his gloved hands moving fast. She didn't need to see his face to identify his posture, frightened but determined. He was not a professional thief, at least not one with expertise. "Step away from the file cabinet," she instructed, her voice chilly and steady. The man froze, his back tightening. Slowly he turned around. Anna noticed panic in his demeanor as soon as their eyes connected. It wasn't simply a dread of getting caught, but also of being identified. That made matters worse. She took a step forward, the rifle still raised. "Who sent you?" I just needed information," he mumbled, his gaze darting to the exit. "I wasn't about to steal anything. I swear." Anna was not in the mood for games. She motioned to a chair. "Sit. Now." She had him in her sights as she issued a detention order. Within minutes, backup had arrived. The man, who was now sweating tremendously, was let out, but not before Anna slid the folder he had been targeting into her briefcase. She needed to know what he was after, and more crucially, who he worked for. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Jordan Ashford was dealing with an unexpected guest. Vaughn, a well-dressed man with a polished grin and ambiguous credentials, had lately landed in Port Charles and was connected to a number of powerful persons. He claimed to be a private consultant who assisted the city in recovering lost assets and tracking money laundering schemes. On paper, he appeared to be extremely clean. Curtis had mentioned Vaughn's abrupt presence to Jordan earlier that week, and she felt it was worth investigating. Now, seated across from him at the Savoy, she observed as he charmed the bartender, slipped a tip into the till, and struck up casual conversation with the customers. He was trying too hard to fit in. Jordan's contact in D.C. passed over preliminary information. Vaughn has previously used 2 different identities. Although he had no criminal record, his name was associated with sealed files related to an abandoned FBI inquiry. That was a red flag that Jordan could not ignore. She approached Vaughn in the bar. "Do you mind if I join you?" He turned with a friendly smile. "Not at all. It's always nice to see the commissioner relax." She smiled nicely, but her tone tightened. "Vaughn, this is not a social visit. I have some inquiries." He did not flinch. "Of course. Transparency is my middle name." "Let's start with your real name," she replied. His smile faded somewhat, revealing a fracture in his icy exterior. But he immediately recovered and raised his glass in a faux toast. "I am not here to cause trouble, Jordan. Just aiding some old friends." "Then you won't mind a background check." He paused, and Jordan realized he was hiding something. She stood up and left her untouched drink behind. "If you're clean, you've got nothing to worry about." Michael Corinthos was pacing across town. Willow watched him from the doorway, her arms securely crossed over her chest. Something was extremely wrong. He hadn't said anything since taking the call, and suddenly it appeared that the walls were closing in. "Michael," she whispered softly, entering the room. "What happened?" He stopped pacing but did not look her in the eyes. Instead, he reached for his phone again, lingering his thumb over the screen before locking it and setting it face down on the table. "I just got off the phone with Brick," he explained gently. "It's about Sonny." Willow's breath caught. "Is he okay?" Michael eventually looked up at her, and the anguish in his countenance spoke it all. "No, he's not." He approached the window and peered out, as if the trees beyond could answer his questions.